Good morning. Rise and shine, my friends. Today is Tuesday, June 11th, and this is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Katherine Hobbs. Thank you so much for starting your morning with me. More rain is rolling through North Texas today, so don't forget your umbrella, folks. Highs will max out around 84 degrees. Well, I hope your week has been off to a good start so far. I actually discovered a trove of unused Audible credits and did some very, very precise science to find the best use of them. And by that, I mean I pulled the group chat. Nonetheless, I now have quite a few audiobooks on deck, and that makes for a very happy Katherine. Before I get completely sidetracked by books, though, let's get you the news you need to start your day. I mentioned yesterday that a vote was underway to determine the fate of 4 Plano ISD schools. Well, that vote has happened, and those schools will be closing, including one that serves deaf students throughout North Texas. The Plano ISD School Board voted yesterday to close 2 elementary schools, Davis and Foreman, and 2 middle schools, Armstrong and Carpenter. The campuses will close their doors for the 2025 to 2026 school year. Superintendent Teresa Williams says closing the campuses was a difficult but necessary financial decision. The district hasn't received an increase in funding from the state since 2019, and a bill that would have increased money for education died in the Texas House during a special session. Lover's Lane United Methodist Church in Dallas has ordained its first openly gay pastor this week. Lucas says he felt overjoyed when he found out about the church's decision. He'll serve as a reverend for St. Stephen United Methodist Church in Mesquite starting July 1st. Fortune magazine recently reported about 82% of employees are at risk of experiencing burnout this year. About 43% of that group cited financial strain as a contributing factor, while 40% cited exhaustion, and 37% said they were struggling with an excessive workload. KERA's Sam Baker talks with Natasha Benatti, a psychologist with Parkland Health, about how employers and employees can address burnout.
Burnout, coined in 1974, refers to a state of complete mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. And it's characterized by 3 different dimensions, a feeling of energy depletion, or this increased mental distance from one's jobs, or feeling of negativism. And the third component of it is also a reduction in professional efficacy, not being able to do your job as efficiently as you used to be able to before, and just no longer caring about the things that might be important, or experience kind of an increased sense of hopelessness.
Would those count as signs of burnout approaching, or is it something else you should look for?
We could look at feeling tired or drained most of the time. That's a sign. Feeling helpless or trapped and or defeated. Feeling kind of alone or isolated or detached from the world around you may also be a sign. Having kind of a cynical or a negative outlook in the world and or your job specifically. And then feeling constantly overwhelmed.
So what should you do to try to get through burnout when it happens?
We want to look at our options, right? We want to be communicative and talk to our managers, our bosses about our concerns, and see if there are ways to work together to make changes to solve these types of problems. Setting realistic goals of what needs to get done might also be helpful, and finding out what can wait, right? We don't have to get through our wait list every single day. And if things at work are not likely to change, we might want to take a bigger step and maybe find something that might be a better fit. But having that conversation first is pivotal.
In dealing with burnout, it's not just an employee's problem. This is something that employers need to work with and help deal with as well?
Absolutely. It is not an employee's problem. They're feeling burnt out. A lot of it is related to the demands or to the inadequate resources that employees are facing at the job today. And so talking to your employees and making sure that they have the resources that they need both to do their job adequately and also to feel supported is really important.
So should employers then, when they're creating jobs, look at them in terms of trying to design or create or manage them with mental health in mind?
I know that sometimes that can't be ideal or we don't have the resources to do that, but absolutely we should always be thinking about a human's mental health and taking that into consideration when creating jobs and creating expectations. We all have mental health, right? Just like we all have physical health, and that needs to be considered when we're doing a job.
Anything you'd like to add before we conclude?
In talking to your manager about burnout, I think it's really important to have these open dialogues about what's going on for you and asking for what you need. Sometimes that can be a scary thing, but until we ask, we don't know. Right. And so we want to be open about the fact that we're feeling these effects of burnout in our one-to-one communications with our managers and our bosses, and highlighting the symptoms that we've noticed, both mental and physical, as well as some things that you might identify as needed for overcoming what is going on for you in terms of this burnout state. So sharing these insights and these factors can really be helpful to allow your employer on how to help you.
That was KERA's Sam Baker talking to Parkland Health psychologist, Dr. Natasha Benetti. No major sports scores yesterday as all the sports ball teams had the day off, but tonight you can look forward to the Rangers facing off against the Dodgers in LA. SpaceX's Starship rocket completed its first full test flight last week. At over 400 feet tall, it's the tallest and most powerful rocket launched in history. It reached 130 miles in altitude before starting its descent, and the 3 previous iterations exploded at some point during the test flight. This rocket only lost some tiles and paneling, and it touched down as planned. NASA has ordered 2 of the rockets to use for moon landings later this decade. The City of Keller Public Arts Board welcomes the Pastel Society of the Southwest for an exhibit of their art until June 20th. 14 pastel artists' work will be on display Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and Tuesday evenings until 8 p.m. For more events in North Texas, check out kera.org/calendar. Thank you so much for starting your day with me today. I'm so glad you take a few minutes to listen each morning. Be sure to subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA newsletter, also by yours truly at keranews.org, and check us out on Instagram and Threads at KERATX. I'm Katherine Hobbs. We'll chat again tomorrow.